Diamonds and Toads, a classic fairy tale retold by Ellen Schechter and illustrated by Amy Blackshear. Diamonds and Toads. Once upon a time, and a long time ago, there lived a woman with 2 daughters. Claire, the younger, was as beautiful as she was good. Her eyes were as warm as sunshine, her voice was full of bells, and her heart was as good as gold. Melina, the older, was ugly and mean like her mother. Her mouth was bitter, her face was hard, and her heart was as rusty as old nails. Melina and her mother hated Claire. They made her work all the time, and she had to scrub their stockings and press their petticoats, and they made her sit alone in the kitchen with nothing to eat but the scraps from their own plates. Every morning and evening, Claire had to fetch water from the well. She had a long climb up a steep, rocky hill, and the heavy buckets hurt her hands. But she took each step with a happy heart and a merry will. One morning, a ragged old woman hobbled up to the well and asked Claire for a drink. Now, truth be told, the old woman was really a fairy, and she had made herself look old and poor to see if Claire's heart was as kind as her face. "Let me help you," Claire told the old woman, and she drew the clearest water from the coolest part of the well, and she gave it to the ragged woman with a smile and a curtsy that made Claire's old tin cup seem as fine as silver. "Thank you, my dear," the old woman said, and she drank deeply. "You are as polite as you are pretty, and here is my gift for thanks. Each time you speak, flowers and jewels shall fall from your mouth." Then she disappeared before Claire could even thank her. Claire ran home with her heavy buckets, laughing as water and jewels splashed and sparkled all around her in the sun. "You're late," her mother scolded as soon as she got home. "I'm sorry, Mother," Claire said gently. "Let me tell you what happened. 2 roses, 3 diamonds, 4 pearls, and a ruby fell from her lips as she spoke." "Dear daughter, what can this mean?" the wicked mother asked. And suddenly, acting sweet as sugar, jewels and flowers scattered on the floor as Claire told her story, and the mother fell to her knees and shoved the jewels in her pocket. Then she yelled at Melina. "Go to the well at once," she ordered. "If you meet a ragged old woman, be sure and give her some water." "Why should I?" the rude girl asked. "Just look at what your sister got," the greedy woman answered. "Diamonds and rubies, emeralds and pearls. Do as I say." Melina fussed and snapped and whined and whimpered, but she finally set off for the well, dragging her feet and carrying their best silver pitcher. She climbed the rocky hill, complaining every step of the way. And when Melina finally reached the well, she met a lady dressed like a princess. "May I please have a drink?" the fine lady asked. Melina was so hot and thirsty, she didn't even answer. She dipped her pitcher into the well and took a long drink of cool water. "Please help me," the lady cried. "I am so very thirsty." "If you want a drink, get it yourself," Melina told the lady crossly. "I am not your servant." Now, this fine lady was the same fairy Claire had met earlier, only this time she had dressed as a princess to see how Melina would act. "Fie on you," the fairy told Melina. "Your manners are as mean as your face, so here is my gift for you. With each word you speak, toads and snakes will fall from your mouth." Melina screamed and ran home with snakes and toads tumbling from her lips. "Mama, Mama," she called, "just look what happened." And her mother watched with horror as toads and snakes came pouring from Melina's mouth. "It's all Claire's fault," Melina shouted as toads hopped on her shoulders and snakes dripped from her hair. "You made this happen," the mother scolded, and she slapped Claire, and 2 tears as bright as diamonds slid down Claire's cheeks. Then Claire ran away, deep into the forest, where the sun glittered on the leaves and the birds sang like flutes, and she ran as far and as fast as she could, knowing she could never go home again. Soon she heard the drum of hoofbeats. It was the king's son following the trail of flowers that sprang up each time Claire took a step. "Why are you crying?" the prince asked kindly, and by the time she was done, the prince was in love with her heart and her kind, gentle ways, and he hardly even saw the heaps of jewels sparkling at their feet. "And now the whole world lies before me," said Claire. "I will never go home again." "I would be honored to welcome you to my home," said the prince. And they filled their hands with flowers and set off for the castle, and everyone in the kingdom came out to welcome them. Claire and the prince decided to marry that very day, and the fairy was the very first to give them her blessing. When the wicked mother heard all this, she grew sick with envy, and Melina grew meaner than ever. She shrieked and raved and hissed and howled till every room in the house swarmed with snakes and toads. And even her mother grew sick of her, and at last she chased Melina into a dark corner of the forest where they both lived in great misery until they died of rage. But Claire and the prince lived a long life, blessed with joy and plenty, and they always remembered the fairy's blessing. Of all the great riches to have and to hold, a kind heart is far more precious than gold.